So we're gonna work today with equivalent fraction and take a moment and think, what is an equivalent fraction? We learned yesterday that equivalent fractions are fractions that are equal, but they have different numerator and denominator. Do you remember what is a numerator and what is a denominator? Let's see. We have this fraction. Can you name this fraction? 1/2, right? The 1 is gonna be the numerator. The 2 is gonna be the denominator. Good job. Now, we're gonna have an equivalent fractions for this fraction. And since we practiced yesterday, we know that 2/4 it's an equivalent fraction of 1/2. Oh, Miss Padilla, how did you know? Okay, I'm gonna show you first a method so we can check that these are two equivalent fractions. Remember yesterday what we did, we draw the picture and we try to find, okay, a similar picture. So we're gonna do the pictures first. We're gonna do, okay, a rectangle, and we're gonna divide it in two because it's my denominator. So this is 1/2, right? Now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is divided in fourth. So 1 and 2. So this is 2/4. This is 1/2, and this is 2/4. Are they equivalent? Yes, they look the same. But there is another way to find out if when you see two fractions, they are equivalent. And that's if we multiply numerator of the second fractions by the denominator of the first fraction is gonna be the same if you do the other way around. Okay, so they has to be equal. So 2 times 2 equals 4, and then 4 times 1 equals 4. That means these two fractions are equivalent. Okay, so that's how we check if these two fractions are equivalent. But now, Miss Padilla, what if they give me a fraction and I cannot draw the picture? Okay, let's do it. We're going to learn how to do it using either multiplication or division. So that's important that you know your facts. It's gonna help you a lot. So I'm gonna show you this strategy. Let's think if we have the fraction 3/6. What would be an equivalent fraction for this? So we need to find a fraction that represents a whole. Do you remember what fractions represents a whole? You are right. The fraction does have the same numerator and denominator. So we need to find a fraction that represents a whole, like 2/2. Okay? We have to have the same number in the top and in the bottom, numerator and denominator. And what am I gonna do now, Miss Padilla? I'm gonna multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. And it's gonna give me an equivalent fraction. Let's see. So I'm gonna multiply 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Got it? Okay. Now 6 times 2 is gonna be 12. So we can say that the fraction 3/6 is equivalent to 6/12. Let's do another exercise. Let's try to find an equivalent fraction for 2/8, right? Let's see. We need to find an equivalent fraction for 2/8. So what is the first thing I need to do? Yes, we need to find a whole fraction, a fraction that represents the whole. So let's do it. Let's find, I usually use the 2 and 3 because if I use bigger number, the bigger number I use, the bigger fractions I'm going to have. And then when I want to check, it's going to be super huge. So that's why I like to use 2 or 3. So in this case, since we already used 2, we're going to use 3. Let's do 3. 3 in the top and 3 in the bottom. So what do I need to do now? I need to multiply 2 times 3. How much is gonna be? 2 times 3 is 6. Got it? Okay. And then 8 times 3. How much is 8 times 3? Is 24. So 2/8 is equivalent to 6/24. Ooh, this is a huge number. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a moment. You're gonna pause this video, and I want you to find an equivalent fractions for 1/4. What would be an equivalent fraction for 1/4? Pause the video and do the strategy. Now, I'm gonna do it. Maybe you did it the same way I did it. So 1/4, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna find my whole fraction. It's gonna be 2/2. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna multiply. 1 times 2 equals 2. And 2 times 4 equals 8. So my equivalent fraction is going to be 2/8. So I can find an equivalent fraction using multiplication.